Yo. All right. I am ready to get to it. All right. I'd be lying if I told you guys I wasn't a little bit sleepy. I wasn't a little bit tired. Yesterday was a pretty late night just working on some stuff on the computer. I lost track of time, basically fell asleep on my computer. I got about 4 or 5 nah, not 4 or 5. Probably like 5 hours of sleep. It's not the worst. But at the end of the day, still grateful, still happy to be here and ready to crush these markets. Ready to show you guys what I'm looking at. My chart for NASDAQ got deleted. So if you guys can just give me a second, I'm going to re-mark up some of these charts. If you guys just want to hang out, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box below. I'm going to go through and just readjust some of my levels here just so I make sure I got everything right. ChartAddicts members, if there's any pairs that you guys are looking at, just put them in the chat box or just send me a markup and I can pull it up and we can look at some of these potential moves. So I'm going to simplify it as much as possible since I actually got the liberty of having a clear screen. I might as well keep it clean, right? So what I'm going to do is just find some of my key levels. So the higher time frame is pretty straightforward. Price for now is sitting in this consolidation range. There's an obvious higher time frame head and shoulders right here. So that's kind of making me think, or we're also at the neckline right now. So you guys know the neckline for a head and shoulders is wherever the lowest support is. So we're back at the neckline of that head and shoulders. And NASDAQ does look like it wants to make a drop. So whenever there's heavy news weeks, kind of like what we've been having this week, NASDAQ tends to see some bearish moves. People are usually taking that chance to, not people, but institutions usually take the chance to put their, to take some money off of their positions whenever things get uncertain. And so when the Federal Reserve Chairman is speaking, and then there's NFP news, and there's Treasury currency report news, and there's Bureau of Labor Statistics news all week, there's a lot of sell-off that's going to be happening. The big story of the week is, why are indices selling off so hard? I had to take some time to think about this. Obviously, guys, we can look at the virus. The virus is starting to scare people into thinking that we might have more lockdowns. And so they're selling stocks off and moving into cash just in case we go into a recession type environment. The institutions can buy stuff up for cheap. So that's the game plan right now. People are selling off stocks. They're selling off a lot of these assets, like gold as well, and they're moving to cash. And the only times that institutions do that is whenever they think there's an opportunity coming where they can buy the markets at a dip. So I think it's actually inflation. Federal Reserve Chairman says that even if we go into a recession because of the new variant, he's going to make his primary focus fighting inflation. So what that means is that they won't, like, they're going to raise the interest rates next year, regardless of what happens in the economy, which is a pretty dangerous thing to say. And that's why the market's basically sold off. The biggest trade will be next year when they actually raise the interest rates, or probably a few months before they raise the interest rates. I think it's going to be the biggest trade of the last 3 or 4 years. And I think that the indices will crash and the dollar will see a giant push to the upside. So EU, GU, everything like that is going to crash out of the sky. And that should be around May of next year when they start to raise the interest rates. So if you guys are paying attention to that, highly recommend keeping that date on your calendar so you know when to expect. All right, let's get right into this. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the YouTube live streams. If this is your first stream, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to hit the like button as well so that this gets posted to everybody else's page and everyone else can jump on board. And if you guys are part of a trading team, make sure to take this link, copy and paste it, and put it in your group chats for your teams. Let's go ahead and make sure that everybody is making money this morning, not just you. All right. Now, let's find some levels real quick. So we've been taking advantage of NAS 100 all week. We've basically just been buying at the lows, which is around the 150 area, and then shorting at the highs, which is 16,400. I want to walk you guys through a huge mistake I made this week. And even though we corrected the mistake, well, at least some people did, calling the break even too soon was something that I regretted. So price comes back down to the low of the range. You guys know the drill. I was looking to go long. I saw all of these wicks. Where are we at? I saw all these wicks form to the downside right here. And then I saw price recover back up. And so we put a buy limit at 115 right here, and price activated. Okay, it was a beautiful trade. If I can show you guys the actual signal. 11:30. So this was like literally 2 days ago. The entry was at 6,115, 115, and the take profit was at 16,400. So that entry, the entry that we got was at 115, like literally a wick entry on the retest. Price pushes up about 1,000 pips. And so we did manage to catch 1,000 pips off this move. But then after like probably 800 pips, I sent out a signal to move stop loss to break even for NAS 100. And then the break even ended up getting hit for NAS when price came back for that second retest. So this was our entry number one. This was the retest that came and hit our break even. A lot of people, they re-entered here. That's when I sent out the markup. Oh, it's in the setups chat. This is the after. Here's the before. Price was sitting at the 16,115 for that retest, that re-entry, and that was the move to the upside. That was the re-entry for that buy position. Okay, here it is. So the first entry was on these wicks. We ended up getting 1,000 pips up. Price came back to retest. That retest of the 71, that was the entry. And here's the follow through. Is that price came back, grabbed that touch, and then ended up continuing towards TP, which is 16,400 exactly. 16,400 exactly, like to the pip. So from green line to black line, or sorry, from green line, and let's make this red. From green line to red line, that was the trade. From down here to up here, a perfect trade. But the only mistake was moving stop loss to break even too soon. Okay. Which will happen. So now let's look at live trading this morning. We're going to look to live trade NASDAQ. Price ended up breaking through that consolidation range that we had and is now playing at a lower level. So here's what I do whenever I'm looking to scalp the market at the market open. I go see what happened pre-market. Pre-market, there was a consolidation here from the start of pre-London session all the way till about 5 or 6 a.m. Eastern time. So pre-New York. So this is what I would consider the pre-New York consolidation. And we'll go ahead and make that a different color. Let's do blue or something. Okay. So for now, price is still sitting above this support right here. So for me, my number one thing that I'm looking for right now is longs. But what usually happens with these consolidation ranges is that if price drops, and then comes back to retest it as resistance, this is usually the point where the market will sell off. So a retest of these consolidation ranges is usually how the market moves out of a consolidation. So I'll give you some examples here. Here's a consolidation range. Here's a consolidation range. The break and retest took us out of the range. Here, no retest. Well, actually, I guess you can consider this double top a retest. That's one way that the market could retest those consolidation ranges. There's also this consolidation range right here. You'll notice there's a break and retest. That's the trade we caught 2 days ago. And then again, right here. This is a pretty messy example, but the lows of the support are down here and the retest is right there. Okay, I know some of these are a little bit harder to see, but if they look textbook every time, the markets would be too easy to trade. And so they're not going to look textbook, but the idea is there where the market will basically go consolidate sideways. It'll have a break above the range. The market will try and break back through and fake out the sellers and then eventually make the push to the upside. Okay, same down here, a retest to the downside. So we're going to do the same exact thing and look at this consolidation range right here. And basically, we've already had a push to the outside, and now we're starting to retest that consolidation range. So in my mind, I want to wait long enough to figure out if the market is doing one of these double bottoms where it creates one low, tries to make everyone think it's going to go bearish, creates a second low, and then ends up making the move. So this could be a double bottom here, or the market could push off, come back to retest, and then we can get a selling opportunity at the market open. So ladies, gents, the two opportunities that I see I'm going to have to adjust the zone a little bit more just to make sense of it. So either a retracement up and drop or a breakthrough, retest, and push up. That zone to watch is 15,900. And price could even retrace all the way up to 16,000 at the market open before it drops. And so the key is, guys, when you're looking at moves like this, to try to figure out if it's a reversal or if it's a retracement, you look at a specific level and you say if it breaks above and closes above this level, then it's bullish. And if it rejects and closes below, then it's bearish. All right. And so if the market does break above, but it doesn't retest, it just keeps going down, then obviously you don't want to be looking to go long. The market goes up like this, breaks under the zone, retests it, then that's most likely the point where the market's going to start to drop. So do you guys understand how to look at multiple scenarios? This is not to confuse you about the direction of the trend, because we haven't figured out the direction of the day, because we're just being patient and allowing the market to play out. But as long as you have your zones, then whatever the market does do, if it does fake up first before the drop, you can take advantage. If it fakes down and then comes back up and closes above, you can recognize that and go long. So those are the things that I want you guys to start paying attention to, is to not really predict the market at the open. Instead, just try to react by having those high probability zones. Okay. Now let's look higher time frame. Higher time frame, buy level before the market pushed up. Buy level before the market pushed up. Even though we're having a lot of bearish momentum here, this is still a very significant buy level. So the market might try and fake into this range and then end up coming back above. The next line of defense, if the market does start dropping, is going to be 15,680 or 15,700. So those whole numbers are still going to be the biggest focus. 15.7, 15.8, 15.9, 16,000 flat. Okay, that's why I said the market could come back up and retest the 16,000 flat before it drops. All right. My base case, if I did have to give you guys my base case, is we're still sitting low. So I am not looking to short any breakouts unless the market proves something very, very, very enticing. It would have to go completely break into the range and then later in the session come back up to retest And then from here, that would be that's the only way that I would short. My long opportunity is a lot more clear. Basically just a wick back above the range, a retest above the 15,900 and a closure above, preferably multiple closures. And then we can get a buy position up to 16,115. So while that sits there and cooks, let me show you guys some of these other pairs, get you some value for the day. US 30 was working up this trend line all the way back since March of this year, which is a really long time in trading terms. Price is back at these lows. Okay, so about the 33,000 or 34,000 flat. I'm expecting a push back up on US 30 only because of how big this drop has already been. So what we notice about markets is whenever the markets are at a high point, the markets tend to get, really uneasy with that price, and they just end up pushing the price back down. They push the price back down. Okay, I hope that we're all clear on that concept. Whenever the markets are at a comfortably low price, they see it as a discount and they end up buying the market back up. Okay, so that's one way to draw it. Another way would be right here. So the wick, body. Price could come down a little bit more to 33,800 before it launches. But all I do is I look left and I use the historical data as a roadmap to be able to tell me where are the high probability zones where the market is likely to retest before it pushes up. So now we have this range down here between the 34,000 and 33,800. That's going to be the buying zones. So the lower the market gets, the more likely that that the institutions are going to be looking to go long at those prices. You guys understand what I'm saying? So we have the low of the market, price pushes up, it came back to retest, and now price is bottoming out at the 78.6. So I think that we can see a recovery and a retest before we push up, or at the market open, the market will fake down real quick, hit that key level, and then shoot up. So I am bullish on US 30 for the time being. Maybe it drops later in the session. Maybe it makes a retracement back up here and then drops. That's possible. But for the short term, if we just look at the price, the fact that price is still closing back above the 78.6, I think that we can get like a fake up during the market open before the drop. Okay. So that's my take on U30. Boom, boom, boom. He said there's no volume, can't hear anything. I think you have to check your computer. I hope I'm not talking in vain. All right, GJ, the swing of the year. I don't know if we're going to break back through. I really don't know. But this whole 149 area, is key. All right, we look left on the higher time frames. We're on the daily. Whole bunch of buying here. And we've waited patiently for price to get there. I'm looking for some sort of candlestick rejection right here, some reversal pattern. And I'm looking to hold this thing for hundreds and hundreds of pips. So if you guys have an account, you want to throw in a position, maybe throw in an extra position, and then hold this thing as a swing. If you've never swing traded, it's a great place to start. Don't expect price to just reverse on a dime. It might, but don't expect it to just reverse on a dime. There may be some sort of like consolidation here before we finally shift the gears, because this is a train that's been running at 100 miles an hour to the downside. It's not just going to like hit a specific point and turn back around. Trains that are moving real fast, they got to slow down first, then they have to stop, then they have to start building momentum the other way, and then they can start moving the other direction. So that's just a quick take on GJ higher time frame. I am looking for a swing position around the 149 price level. BTC, pretty straightforward. We're still sitting on the trend line. Fibonacci from bottom to top. We're sitting at the 50% fib, even though it's not showing. Let me put that in. We're at the 50% fib now. I'd like to see a double bottom around 52,000 before we continue up to 70,000. This is a very classic Elliott wave scenario. I keep saying I told you guys this on the call yesterday, but somebody told me I've been saying the word scenario wrong my whole life. It's scenario. I don't know where I got scenario from. That was just really funny for me to find out. But this is a very classic Elliott wave. It's just zero. And I might as well just use the Elliott wave tool. Elliott impulse 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is up here. Equal size moves confirms the Elliott wave. We have this wave and this impulsive push are the same length. And then this retracement and this retracement are the same length. So we have an A, B, C, D pattern. A, B, C, D. And the last move is usually the end of the Elliott wave leg. Okay. It'll either make a double top right here and then do the retracement, or it's going to make new highs, which is what it really needs to do. Okay. So 76,000 is still my target for Bitcoin. And as long as we hold above 52K, that's the next place that we're going to head to. But overall, if you guys are in the cryptocurrency markets, I highly recommend that you guys buy up cryptocurrencies while they're low. That's not financial advice, but I would, there is a huge discount on these cryptocurrencies. All right. NAS is currently dropping. Let's see if we can actually find a retest and just go short during the session. I know Stefano went live with some of the members, not some of the members, but with whoever was awake during the London session, and he's already in a short. Oh, another cool thing is I'm about to interview Charlene, the girl who won the torch challenge. She and I have been talking since she started the challenge, and I'm really proud of her. She freaking crushed. She crushed and she destroyed that challenge. I've never seen anybody do the torch like that. And I'm really excited to get her on the podcast and just pick her brain. And maybe, just maybe, we get Q Banks on there too, and just kind of make like a Q. What did you think about the torch, Charlene? What did you think about the torch? What advice would you give to other traders? Blah blah blah. That's going to be a really, really fun episode, without a doubt. I'm looking at 145 on GJ. It's possible, dude. I don't know if you're a dude or not, but GJ is extremely bearish right now. That's why I haven't set buy limits. I normally set buy limits when I'm confident in a specific level. When the market is moving that aggressive, I just want to wait for it to get there, and I want to analyze the price action patterns when it's at that level. So 145 is possible, but keep an eye out. 149, you're going to get at least, in my opinion, at least 100 pips from that move. And so the 149 buy entry is, to me, is a great, great, great way to just get 50, 60, 80, 100 pips and just walk away from the market. Okay, so the reason I'm looking at shorts now is because we've closed and retested below, or we haven't really closed yet. There's still 30 minutes left in this hourly candle, but we are breaking below this previous support level and we're creating resistance. All right, so this leads me to believe that we're going to get a short-term push to the downside, probably halfway in the range, before we come back up and retest. So since we're on the stream together, I really just want to catch one move, a couple candles down. We can catch some serious, serious moves on this. Like 1,000 pips. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. So the old me, I used to look at this shallow retest here and say, okay, I'm going to short because the market is retesting right now. What I like to do now is I like to wait for this first push to come down. And then I'd like to wait for the market to come back and retest. And then the second short, that's my entry. The reason why is I've been caught a few times where the market starts to create support right here and then just starts to come up. So I don't necessarily like to short the first retest. Instead, I'd like to see this candle push down. And at the market open, it fakes up. And then at around like 9:30, 9:45, we take a short and just catch the move of the day. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now, just because we're closing outside. I know it's trying to entice a lot of sellers to get into the market. What I think it'll do is it's going to start to push out pre market open, and then at the market open, it'll start to rush up as if it's bullish, and then it'll crash at like 10 a.m. So gold, I feel like I've just been looking at a lot different. I've been scalping gold. So I entered down here at the 1785, kind of like 1785 level, like down here, and I took my profits at 1790 yesterday. So it was a quick 50 pip move, and I'm glad I didn't try to like hold this thing into oblivion, because that's just a mess waiting to happen, especially with gold. Gold in these high news conditions, you really just want to be in and out of these moves. You really, really want to be in and out of these moves. I see gold continuing to the downside down to 1760. So that's my base case for gold. Forex Factory. So there's OPEC JMMC meetings. OPEC is the oil producing nations. So it's basically going to be Saudi Arabia, United States, and some of the oil producing other oil producing nations talking about how to bring oil prices down in the world. Um, it's a pretty crazy way this whole thing works. It's us, Saudi Arabia, and probably 6 or 7 other countries, and we control the entire supply of oil in the world. So right now, prices in the United States are extremely high for oil. You guys can see across the coast. They've almost doubled from 6 months ago, which is a huge deal. Our deal is, or our kind of like fix for that is, Biden sold a bunch of oil from our open reserves to flood it into the market to try to bring the prices down. Now, today, we're going to be speaking with the rest of the oil producing nations to tell them, okay, you guys need to be producing this much oil. Here's how much oil everyone needs to be releasing from their strategic reserves. Oh, and if you don't, we're gonna hold sanctions against you. So the United States has that sort of negotiating power, because all oil in the world is transacted in dollars, and so it's whatever the U.S. wants. They tend to get in terms of this oil trade. Russia tends to fight us a little bit, which is kind of what's been happening with the high oil prices. Russia's been trying to squeeze us while we're down, but we have Saudi Arabia in our corner. They are a very low cost producer of oil. They can basically make oil appear with a snap of the fingers. So we're about to link up with them today and create a better deal to bring oil prices down. What that means is that the dollar usually tends to go up. So bullish, this is bullish for the dollar, bearish for oil, and bullish dollar means basically bearish everything else. So gold shorts, Euro USD shorts, GBP USD shorts, etc., etc. Okay. You guys understand that quick fundamental breakdown? Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the YouTube comments if you guys understand the quick breakdown. Now, there's also unemployment claims that literally just got released. So they came out better than expected. So later in the day, this should be good for the stock market, because if less people are on unemployment asking for handouts from the government, it means that everybody's in a better position. They were expecting 238,000 people to apply for unemployment last month. Instead, we only had 220,000, which is good. That's about 14,000 or 16,000 less than was expected, which is a really, really good number that came out. But I want you guys to notice that the immediate reaction in the market is not going to be rational. Better job numbers should mean bullish stock market. But what's most likely going to happen is a bearish push at the open of the session, and then we might get a recovery later in the session as the true move. Okay, so that's kind of why I don't use these events to try to predict too much in terms of the individualistic move. Instead, the way I look at it is, on high impact news days, guys, we have OPEC, unemployment, and Treasury Secretary speaking, and the FOMC one of the FOMC members is speaking about the state of the labor market. The state of the labor market is not good, people. It's not fucking good. They're going to get up on stage and say, hey, we have 11 million open jobs in America, but only 4 million unemployed people. Okay, so it's not the worst thing in the world. We don't have 10 million unemployed people, but why the fuck we have so many open jobs? Because if we have 10 million open jobs and only 4 million unemployed, we have a labor shortage. And a labor shortage puts us in something called stagflation. Okay? There's stagnation, there's inflation, and then there's stagflation. We can talk about this more on the fundamentals calls. But stagflation is basically we're not being productive and prices are going up. It's a horrible place to be. All right? And so if we don't have enough people, enough labor force participation, we're going to stagnate in our ability to produce goods and our ability to make the economy kind of keep moving. And then at the same time, we're going to have basically it's just a lack of productivity and a lack of consumers, right? If people don't have jobs, not spending as much, and if people aren't at work, they're not making as much. So we have less stuff and we have less money to buy the stuff. So we stagnate in terms of growth, but prices are still going up. And so it's a pretty shitty place to be in. And that's kind of what I feel like they're going to be talking about today. And that's going to be bearish for the markets overall. All right. So high impact news days, a bunch of different conflicting news. The overall theme is the economy is not in a good place. The more we talk about it, the worse it gets. And so I see bearish for the day, just a heads up to everybody. Okay. Bearish for the day. OPEC meeting just ended. It's tentative. So they go on breaks and then they'll go and discuss things with their own policy leaders. And then every country is going to start to release like press conference releases and things like that. Then there's going to be private meetings between smaller groups, smaller countries, or not smaller countries, but smaller groups of countries. And that's like that shit happens all day. The OPEC meeting is not done. And then we still need to give time for the analysts to go crazy and start to write their reports before the market opens. So we'll look at the dollar real quick. This is BTC. We'll look at the dollar real quick. Dollar was on a pretty healthy uptrend. We had broken out of this range that we were trading in for probably a whole year, the 94,000, the 94 resistance level. Now we're sitting at about 95, 96. Now keep in mind something about the dollar, people. The higher the dollar gets, the more that we reach recession territory. So if you guys don't understand how to use the currency index, basically the dollar index is not just the US dollar. It's the US dollar versus a basket of other currencies. So the DXY is about 75%, 80% dollars. And then it's a basket of other currencies like the yen, the Great British Pound, and some other currencies. So the DXY is a measure of how strong the dollar is versus everything else in the world. The stronger that the dollar gets, the harder it becomes for the United States to do trade, because now our trade is too expensive. No one wants to buy stuff in dollars because it's way too expensive. And so we lose our trade balance. And so the higher that the dollar gets, the more that we're going to reach recession territory. And the more that the Federal Reserve is going to start to sound the alarms. They're going to print a shit ton of money. And then the markets are going to crash back to the downside, in my opinion. All right. And so if we go into a recession, they print money and then the dollar is going to crash. The higher that we get, the more that we're going to get into the danger zone for the Federal Reserve. And that's when they start hitting the kill switch. That's a quick overview of the dollar and how to look at the dollar. Now, right now on the short term, price is still forming this inverted head and shoulders. We had a trend line, push down, break and retest of the trend line. The next thing is it should drop, but because we're forming support here, I think that we're going to continue bullish. And so this kind of goes with the fundamental idea that we've been building, correct? We want to short Euro USD. We want to short gold. We want to short GU. And the dollar is forming support and wants to go up. That's another added confirmation for the downside trade on GU and on gold. So we can look at higher time frames and look at the dollar as a correlation kind of like measurement for the rest of these moves. All right. You could short right now, but it would just be a risky trade. Like I said, I'm going to wait for the retracement back up, but you could short right now and take about 50, 60, 100 pips out of the market before it starts to wick back up. So it looks something like this. It's like a 1-to-1 risk and reward. The market would probably fill down and then at the market open, just come right back up. So if you do take this trade, make sure that you keep your risk in check. You're using proper risk management. Personally, I'm only going to take the highest probability trade. So I'd like to see a liquidation to the downside. I'd like to see a sharp pullback during the market open, maybe even break through here. And then if it breaks back below and retests, I will short this thing at the market open. So 922 would be the stop loss just for that trade. All right, I'm going to run and grab a drink of water real quick. The market open is at 9:30. So we might just catch like a scalp position together and then just call it a day because I don't really want to wait till 9:30. It's like watching paint dry. So I'm kind of considering taking this trade here. Okay. I'm going to put a 0.2. I normally use a standard lot size for this trade, but I'm going to put a 0.2. I'm going to enter this trade right now. Boom, I'm in. And just understand that this is a scalp position. This is a scalp position. There's going to be a quick in and out before the market opens. Okay. I set my stop loss at 9:15. So 16,915. I'm just literally just going to catch one candle to the downside and close it. The real trade I'm going to put on, so I put on a 0.2 right here. The real trade I want to put on is if we get a liquidation, a retest, and then up here, I'll put the entire standard and catch this drop at the market open, maybe around 10 a.m. But it's a small tester trade. If it starts to curl back up, I'll close the trade. No harm done. Basically just a small risk on that trade. All right, the entry on my broker was 825, but I think that comes up to right above that wick. So I'm going to put it in green. That's where the entry is. Just so we can kind of have a baseline. And then one candlestick push to the downside, close in blues. At least we can walk away with profit. All right, it might not be a big move, but at least, you know. Gold short 1775. Or sorry, did I read that wrong? 1777.5. Guys, Stefano is the absolute GOAT when it comes to gold. So if he sees something, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm gonna take that trade. 1777.5 is right here. A precision entry.
I short it. I'm already in profit, bro. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem. So it's basically retesting right now. So if you guys took those gold shorts, that's the move. If you guys are taking these gold shorts right now, that's the trade. Stefano, stop loss above the wick.
Yes, sir.
TP1, previous wick right here. 1773. TP2, 1771. And then TP3, 1767.
I would actually do a stop loss above the high. Yeah, just because liquidity grab and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, about 53 pips. It's still like a good 1.5 to 1 risk and reward, so it's a good trade.
Let's see what happens.
People entered right now. It literally just came up to hit that 77. I'm in. I'm in that. Oh my God. This looks like a good move. This looks like a good trade. All right, so we got two trades. We got the gold shorts at 1777. We'll see how those play out. It's testing. We're still making lower highs, lower lows. Bears are still in control. We're testing this previous area of shorting. When we're below it, we sell. When we're above it, we buy. When we're above it, we buy. When we're below it, we sell. When we're below it, we sell. When we're below it, we sell. Nothing crazy. We waited for that. Stefano waited for that retest back up, 1777.5. And right now we're rejecting. So as we continue to reject, we can load up some short positions here. And then as the market drops, we can secure some of those short positions and leave a runner to drop all the way. All right, that NASDAQ short is in a little bit of profits. Did anyone enter this NASDAQ short? It's 300 pips, right? It's not the, it's not like the biggest move in the world, but 300 pips, guys. People waiting weeks and weeks for 300 pips. 360 pips. I'll take it. Said Nas missed my sell stop by a couple pips. How does it miss a sell stop? The sell stop is when it breaks through. It gets activated. So wherever you put your sell stop, you should be in profit now. Unless you just entered it. Unless you mean sell limit. That would make more sense. All right. Yo, I'm going to go grab a quick drink of water. I'll see you guys in a bit, in just 2 minutes. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you guys want to close in blues on the NASDAQ trade, obviously you can do whatever you want. The whole key to this game is to close with profits. A lot of times we just sort of wait for some kind of magical thing to happen. Like we walked into this trade knowing it was a short-term push, knowing that the market's going to retrace at the market open before it drops. And so a lot of folks, they'll like leave the trade open and then get upset that it retraces back. Instead, what you can do is you can move your stop loss to break even. You can secure the entire trade or accept the fact that it could come back and just be okay with that trade. Those are your options. What's not an option is not having that understanding. And then when the market starts to retrace, you panic, you either close in a loss or you just get upset with the trade and start over trading or anything in between. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to pay attention to is if you do make profits on the stream during any of the trades, just look at taking some profits and walking away and being able to secure those trades. Stefano, the gold goat himself, absolutely sniping, making me money 3 freaking days in a row. 3 freaking days in a row. I've taken a Stefano gold signal and I've just made money in the mornings. All right. Insane. We're up about 20 pips just off rip right now, just off of that drop. Just 20 pips. One candle is all you need. One candle is all you need, people. We got that wick entry. One candle is all you need. Great call by our very own Stefano. Stefano is one of our educators and signals providers on the core team. He is a sniper. He is extremely dedicated to his craft, and he live trades London session with our team, waking up to profits very, very regularly. Stefano, I appreciate you, my guy. He said, I call that badass. Yes, sir. Big goat. Stefano, thank you, brother. From 1777.5 down to 1774.8. We're already in huge profits. Yeah, I'm going to close partials. Yo, this is a great trade, people. All right, I just secured partials on gold. And I'll leave my stop loss out of break even just in case it comes back to retest. But that was an excellent position. We'll come back and check on this later. NASDAQ pre-market open. We were up about 360 pips. You could have closed partials or held the whole trade. I'm still holding the trade. I'm not in break even yet, but if I see something I don't like, I'm going to close the entire position. So I'll just keep you guys posted on what I do. A retest of our entry would be great. A retest right here and then a drop would be great. Or at the market open, it just starts to rush, make everybody think it's going to go bullish and then smash back down. We can catch a re-entry up here and just make the real money. And then once it comes down to the low, we can go long for the day. All right, I'll be back in 2. See you guys in a sec. All right, what's up, y'all? All right, let's take a look at this current situation, see what we're seeing here. Price retraced all the way back up to that entry. So it's basically we're still sitting at that entry for NAS. Market open is in about 30 minutes. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Let's take a quick peek over at gold and see what it's doing. Gold Like literally, guys, you have to go into the chat and look at the entry that Stefano just called. He said 1775 1777.5. Let's see if I can put that price label right here. 17. I'm just going to type it in. 1777.5 is right here. Like, can we get a better entry? 1777.5. So we've already hit that first take profit level, which is the 1773. Then we're going to go down 1771 if we break that level. And then after 1771, we'll do 1768 for this trade. So far, so good. It's dropping. It's looking really, really good. Yeah, overall, it's a great trade so far. NASDAQ not looking too hot. I'm considering just closing this current position if it breaks above, and then just re-entering at the market open, which is the best trade to have. Okay. Anybody got questions so far? We doing good? If you close the stream out, can you please send out another link for us when you plan to enter NAS? Yeah, of course. For sure. I'll probably send out a signal if anything. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to jump out of this NASDAQ position for now. And I actually just want to wait for this retracement back up to about 15,911, 15,910, that area, and then look to short from there instead. If you're holding like a small position, like I only entered a 0.2 compared to the standard that I would have normally thrown. And so I really don't, I really, really don't care if I lose this trade. But if we see something happening and we see the market disrespecting the levels, we could just close out and wait for a better opportunity. Okay, that's usually the way that I like to look at trading. Raven says, what's a good time to put stop loss to break even on gold? So if you're playing a conservative game, like I don't really trade gold that often. I basically only ever trade gold when Stefano calls out a signal. And so I would put it in break even already. Like I personally, I'm already in break even. I've already secured some partials. But if you look at the 1 hour and the higher time frame, this thing could come back for another test before it drops. So what I would do is I would probably wait until it retests 1777 one more time. After you get that impulsive push, that's when you should move your stop loss to break even. Otherwise, you'll constantly be in a scenario where your break even gets hit, and then the market ends up going your way. So I would always wait for the market to come back and retrace that zone one more time. And then as soon as you see the next impulse, that's when it's safe to move your stop loss to break even. Now, if you're trying to minimize the losses in your account and you're just playing like a preservation game, you're trying to preserve your capital, you can move your stop loss to break even now. Let me go through GJ and GU. GJ still making lower highs, lower lows. I see GJ as a shorting opportunity now from 150.2 down till about 149. And then 149 is going to be a great buy level to at least catch like 100 pips to the upside. Now, if price breaks 149, we do have levels below that, but 149 is my first barrier, is my first kind of like line of defense for GJ. So for now, I do see a short. Where's the short? I'm actually not really sure. I think it could come up and make a double top or even a little bit deeper before it drops. I'm personally just going to be waiting for the longs on GJ. The longs at 149, that would be ideal for me. Alrighty. So let's take a look at NASDAQ, see if we can find another move. I've closed out of my first position completely, by the way. So I've closed out of that first short. I took some partial profits on the way down. I closed out in a little bit of negative. They balanced each other out. It was like 75 bucks. So it is what it is. So now we just wait for the market to open. We are forming a double bottom right now. So my case right now is this. Basically a short from the 15,900 or a break above the 900 and retest above it. So 15,900 is the level to watch for NASDAQ if you guys have to hop off. But that is the level that I'm watching for NAS. Yeah, this would be an awesome Fibonacci play on U30. Shorts at 34,600. Oh man, oh man. So that would be the previous trend line. That's that big green zone right there. And then we'd have a 61.8 retracement right there, plus retest of this previous area of structure. That would be a really good zone right there. $15,775. I'm looking for a downside target for NAS. NAS is still looking like it's going to go short from the zone. Okay, so it's still respecting that previous support, still respecting here and starting to wick down. So maybe we don't get a full retracement back up to this area. Maybe it just ends up breaking down and then, that first trade was correct. If I'm looking to re-enter this, yeah, we might have closed out that short a little bit too soon. Gold is currently retesting the entry. And so after this next impulsive push, that would be a great time to move your stop loss to break even after it makes that next push down. I'm trying to think about how I would enter this because the entry is a little bit late. Might just have to re-enter right now. All right. I'm going to enter the scalp position. Is it 9:05? All right. If you guys want to scalp this down, you can enter right now for a scalp position to the downside. What I'm actually going to do is wait for the market open instead. If the market open does make this thing bleed, I'm very confident that there's going to be a retest at the market open that's going to give us a much, much better trade. So I don't really want to rush into the scalp right now, but if you guys do want to take this, the overall idea is still lower highs, lower lows, basically a pin bar rejection of the previous lows. And we could potentially have a push to the downside to 15,775. I'd much rather wait for the market open, which is in about 25 minutes, and then catch like a much sharper retest for that entry. But the shorts are valid currently. Why do markets fake out and hit everyone's stop loss before heading in the true direction? Well, because if trading was easy, then everyone would do it, right? If we could all just buy a double bottom and it's a perfect double bottom every time, we would all be billionaires. And so what they do is they understand what retail traders are looking for. They're pattern trading. They're looking for specific patterns that they just like don't know how to really analyze. And then they bait you into that pattern, head and shoulders, double bottom, whatever it is, break, support, whatever it is. And then they will liquidate on you, take all your money, and then make the market move because they need your money in order to move the markets. Without retail money, the markets can't really flow. They need new money into the markets. So you can't be naive. You can't be like, oh, the markets are here for everyone to play fair. Like, no, the fuck, they're not. The markets are designed for institutions to systematically pull out retail money, out of our hands. And so just understand that retests, retracements, and things like that are all very common, and that they will happen. Just don't be naive with your trading. That's my only advice. Understand that the market makers, your broker, and everybody else is here to make money off of you. Okay, that was a good entry for a scalp if anybody got in. Like I said, I'm waiting for that retest at the market open. But if anyone did catch that scalp opportunity, at least you're in profits. It's looking good so far. Gold came back to retest the entry. So I actually had to move my stop loss out of break even. I'm still in this trade. After this next push down, what I'm going to do is then I'll put my stop loss and break even, just so I can like, once the market already retests your entry, the risk of getting hit and break even and the market going your way is getting very, very slim. The only thing that can happen is that the market is just going to break through and go bullish, in which case that's what the break even is there for. So if you like always put your stop loss and break even too soon and it gets hit, which is a problem that I've been experiencing pretty often on NASDAQ, then basically what you'll want to do is after the first impulsive push, you'll wait for that retracement. At that retracement, you'll wait for another push down, and then at that push down is where you'll move your stop loss to break even. Just as a head count on Zoom and YouTube, did anyone scalp this at the second entry? Yo, I just noticed something really crazy. You guys are about to see this bounce. You guys are about to see this bounce. One touch, two touch, third touch at the key level right there. Market's going to break back down here at the market open. And that's going to be a really good scalp opportunity, at least from here to here or from here to here. Okay. Push down, third touch. And if we can do this real quick. Smaller time frame divergence. Okay. Bullish momentum right here on the strength. Bearish price action. Third touch, that would be the entry. Roy, I know the daily and weekly created a higher high, and that's why a lot of people are waiting for a break of structure for this current downtrend to go long. But have you seen the monthly for GJ? Looks like a clean double top. I mean, GJ is obviously bearish on the higher time frame, but whenever it comes down to the neckline at support, that's where we're looking to go long right here. So we could say like, okay, there's this giant like cat ears pattern. It's going to come down. It's going to break the neckline and all this stuff. But this breaking is a gamble. We don't actually know if it's going to break because it's never broken in the past. Every time it's rejected that zone. So when price comes back down here, the easiest move that we can get is at least this 100 pip move. If it breaks below and it wants to drop, that's its prerogative. But at least the highest probability trade is what the market's been doing in the past. Okay, which is buying at that support, at that 149 support. All right, I'm going to keep this on the 30-minute just because I feel like it's just so much cleaner to trade this on the higher time frames. So basically just hang out, folks. Hang out, hang out, hang out. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. And then we're going to take some market open trades, see if we can catch one or two good candles and just walk away for the day. What is the time frame on GJ? Entry level what? Check, check, check. Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened. My microphone is back. Can you guys hear me? We good? All right, still haven't moved my stop loss to break even on gold. Still waiting for one more push down to see if that's what's in the cards for the market open. Should we enter the setup on NAS? Personally, I'm waiting for a retest after the market open. But if you do want to scalp this, the trade is right here. This is the trade setup right here. The reason I want to wait for that retest at the market open is because there's a whole lot of wick rejections here, holding support, and that usually means a little bit of this. And so on the smaller time frame, this thing is bearish. We rejected previous lows, so everything is kind of pointing towards the downside. But at the same time, we have all these wicks down here. So for me, if we see like a nice bearish drop, and then we get a retest, and then on the retest we can go short, that would be ideal for me. Mm-mm-mm. So I used to stream at 9 a.m. Probably just give us like 30 minutes before the market opens. But what ended up happening is we were always late to a lot of moves. So I was like, okay, let's start doing 8 a.m. just to make sure that we don't miss any of these moves. And then we just end up watching grass grow or watching paint dry for like God knows how long. Just a whole hour or hour and a half before the markets finally move. All right, US 30 didn't even retest. 33,700 is that next target, but that thing just started dropping. I don't know what Janet Yellen is saying, but I hope she says something about inflation. I hope she says something about printing more money. God, all right, guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scalp this position one last time, okay, just to kind of get in and out. Probably like a small position here, like a tester position. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm torn between just taking a scalp position because we're on the call together, kind of just take like a small trade, and just waiting for the market open like I'm supposed to. I'm going to follow my rule book, people. I'm going to show you guys a good example of what discipline looks like. I said I was going to wait for the market open. So even if I miss this trade, at least I will have followed my rules and I can hang my hat on that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait. I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to wait for the market open. And that's me personally how I'm going to be entering this. Gold is breaking above that entry. It's not looking too hot right now. If you secured partials, at least you only have a small position running. If you put it in break even, you got hit. If you're still holding a full position, then that's the name of the game. You got to risk it for the biscuit. All right, I'll see you guys in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to wait for the market to open. I'll be back in just 2 or 3 minutes. I'll see you guys real soon. All righty, we back. Oh, all right. Shameless plug. I do this every time. You guys are going to hear this from me every single time we get together. The FX Summit 2022 is going to be in May of next year in Miami, Florida at the Miami Beach Convention Center. You guys, some of you guys can basically recite this by now. If you haven't already gotten your tickets, grab them before they sell out. FX Summit 2022. Some of your favorite traders, the biggest names in the industry, are going to be showing up to this event. It's going to be at a huge, large-scale convention center. And people go all over the country for shoe conventions and comic book conventions and dental conventions and freaking lawyer conventions and technology conventions and Bitcoin conventions. But there's never a Forex convention, at least one that's not associated with pyramid schemes. So this is the chance for everybody to come get together to enjoy learning, connecting, and networking with a lot of the biggest names in the industry, seeing all the other traders in the world. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for everyone to connect. So if you're watching this at home on YouTube or you're watching this on the Zoom, make sure to get your tickets before they sell out. If you are a ChartAddicts member, you get discounted tickets for this event. So make sure that you guys check out fxsummit2022.com after this live stream and make sure to grab your tickets before they sell out. All right. Bada boom, bada bing. Gold looking really good. This is about the time where I move my stop loss to break even, but it's still kind of sitting at my entry. So I just need that push, through, and it's break even city. Let's look at NASDAQ. Market opens in about 5 minutes. Everybody get your game face on. Do not be trigger happy. Best advice is don't be trigger happy. Give it an extra second before you enter. Just always kind of, let the candlestick really play out before you just jump into these entries. Only put down what you can afford to risk and accept the risk of your trade before you take it. If you do all these things, we're about to have a successful market open. And let's see what we can pull out on NASDAQ. To pull up, buy tickets, soak up the knowledge. Yep. And meet some of your favorite traders. It's a really exciting event. Really, really exciting event. What is Janet Yellen saying? What is she saying, guys? Is it going to be positive or negative? Treasury Secretary is out here speaking at a conference, a virtual conference right now for Reuters. We've already had 2 big news events today. The OPEC news that all the analysts are still kind of like getting their head around. We got the unemployment claims that came out. Those came out positive. And Janet Yellen is out here speaking right now. So it really is up in the air what the markets are going to do. This market open is going to show us. It's going to kind of like, give us a hint as to where the market's going to go. And then we'll be able to take advantage. So I'd love to see a push up, kind of like a fake out up here, and then a drop down to the bottom of this trend line. Minor rejection off this trend line for a scalp. And then I think it's going to break through for the rest of the session. I still see overall bearish because of how much news there is, but I was expecting kind of like push down, push up, and drop from here. That is like the big scenario. If we see this 15,900, we can still take this trade. For now, its TP1 is at 15,780. At 780, there's a buy, like a small scalp right here. So, we can even take a scalp position right here, 300-400 pips. And then if the market does drop, we can at least just catch these moves in between the, kind of in between the market. A question for the FX Summit: will there be a live stream option to purchase for those that can't travel to the United States? Now that we're looking at the COVID restrictions and things kind of starting to lock back down, we're realizing that it might be hard for some folks to make it over. When it comes to visas usually take about 5 to 8 months. And so if you had been applying, or if you started applying already, then you'll be able to still make it by the time the convention comes. But if you're talking about the COVID restrictions, I'm actually not sure about travel. We were in talks with a company that can kind of do like a virtual side to the convention. But the thing is, guys, like, I really want you to show up. This convention is not just about virtual whatever. You can go on YouTube and do that shit. This is the first social Forex conference in person. And so if you're not going to show up, then just make a plan to come to the next one. Because it really is like you're not going to get as much out of it if it's just virtual, I promise. Okay, 9:30 market open. We're getting some pushes to the downside. So anyone who scalped this entry over here is in profits. If you're waiting like me, we're basically just looking at the market, seeing how it reacts. And at the market open, the first reaction is like, don't just jump in at the first reaction. Like, oh my God, it's a bearish candle. We should just pile in right now. You could, but then like if the candlestick does flip, then you're going to be caught up in that. So just give it a second for the candlesticks to form and start to give you a sense of direction. There's nothing here. All right, this could be the retest for the short entries right here. I do want to be a little bit more patient. It's only been because the markets move so fast. It's only been a minute since the market opened. So I do want to give this a second to sort of finish wicking and to choose if it's going to close bullish or bearish. If it closes bullish, even if it closes bullish, I think I would still need a few more candles to confirm. The bearish side scenario to me, is a fake out above, but a close back under. Okay, kind of like how this wick did. If we get another one of those wicks type situations, that would indicate downside. All right, well, looks like bulls are coming in strong. Looks like bulls are coming in heavy, heavy, heavy. How do we get the discount code? Just go ahead and message me after this, and I'll give you the discount code. Just because we're on IG Live, I don't want to just give out the code straight up. So, all right, this looks like a pretty good opportunity for shorts. Just looking for the market to finish wicking, just so we don't just excuse me, enter a short position and get caught in like a bullish run, a liquidity grab. 15,862. Yeah, if we close below this, if we close below the bottom of the zone, Then we can look to short. For now, I'm just going to let this thing play out. Draw my fib from top to bottom. We're rejecting the 78% right now. As long as we continue to respect this zone right here, this is the idea behind it. Okay. Don't want to just jump into it because right now the market is still kind of forming its direction. So if it does want to go bullish, we would get crushed just entering the market. So we kind of have to give it a second, see if the market's willing to reject or looking to reject around that zone, and then we can jump in after. From what I can see, the market doesn't seem to be able to break that. That's the first rejection. Oh, no, come on. God damn it. Okay, if it comes back up to retest right here, that's going to be the entry. It just can't leave the station without us. Got to come back up to retest. Gold is in serious profits. Serious profits. Gold is in serious profits. All right, I'm taking a short position on NASDAQ. I'm taking a short position on NASDAQ at 845. A rejection of the 61.8. I just took a short. Just took a short. My stop loss for the trade is 882, 15,882.
Anybody still in this gold trade? Slapping, brother.
Bro, slapping. Now I'm in break even.
I just moved my stops. I just took off some of the table, and then moved my stops to break even. So
yes, sir. You gotta wait for that retest. You gotta wait for and we just hit TP2. Perfect rejection of TP2.
Yeah,
Come
hit
on
TP2. Now. Stop playing, bro.
Oh, stop playing, bro.
Let's get to that convention, baby. All right, I'm gonna hop up. But,
NASDAQ, NASDAQ is blowing up bullish, guys. I just hit my stop loss for that trade. Stefano, I'm gonna catch you later, brother. Appreciate you hopping on. Gold was a slapper. NASDAQ was an L right now. So even with the news events, it looks like bulls are still winning this. Looks like bulls are still winning this. They ended up holding this support and taking the market back up to these highs. Ouch. Gold did its thing, made money. NASDAQ just hit stop loss. I'm gonna just be completely honest. We were shorting it a little bit low, right? You know, it's buy low, sell high. So the sells should be up here, buys should be down here. But the market was giving us lower highs, lower lows. No excuses. Probably just a little bit too early on the entry. Now we got to see if it's actually bullish or if it's just retracing for the next push down. It's all good. You take a loss, you come back the next day. Some trades win, some trades lose, people. Some trades win, some trades lose. Now it's just about being just sort of being flexible enough to look at the next opportunity. Is this actually bullish or is it just high? Is it creating a lower high here before it makes a drop? So I'm just looking at that. If we get a bullish closure above this zone, it's the same idea we talked about at the beginning. A bullish closure above the 15,900, and then the retest is above the 15,900 as well, then this thing is most likely going to push to the upside. But if it closes back below the 15,900, like breaks below and then retest, this thing could still come back down. After that loss, honestly, I'm probably not going to take another entry for the day. I'm still holding gold. Gold's doing its thing, but yeah, I'll probably come back in like an hour to check back on NASDAQ, see if there's another opportunity. Sheesh. A 100 pips easy. Shout out to Stefano for this. Wow. TP3 got hit. TP1, TP2, and TP3 got hit, yo. TP1, TP2, and TP3 got hit. At least that trade slapped TP. NASDAQ, on the other hand, it's bulls, it's bulls, it's bulls. God damn. I fell for the retail trap, people. I fell for selling low. All right, so time to hop off the stream. It's about 9:30. It's been an hour and a half since we've been streaming. Those are the levels for NAS if you guys are interested. It does look like it's breaking bullish. A retest at any of these levels would be good. 16,115 is the target if you guys are looking at those longs. And then 16,200, 16,300. Those would be the next targets. Gold TP, U30 recovery. Everything else just basically sitting around. You know, Bitcoin's pumping. Yep. Basically, I think it's going to play around this range now. Kind of just play around this range until it either pushes up or pushes down. If it closes at this previous candle, it'll probably wick back down one more time to test the lows. So there's still like, it's still going to be in this area. If it breaks these previous highs and engulfs, this thing is bullish and it is what it is. All right. Any questions before we hop off? That's basically the trade. Gold popped off. If you guys made money on gold, congratulations. He said, why gold dropped and NASDAQ is pumping? Well, people are selling off their gold for something. They're selling off their gold. Bitcoin is pumping a little bit and the stocks are pumping a little bit. So it means that people are jumping out of gold, which they think is not a productive asset. And they're jumping into things that they feel like are going to make more money, which is stocks and Bitcoin. The dollar is still at the same place. It is a little bit bearish, but it means that people are also getting out of the dollar. So if you get out of the dollar and you get out of gold, it means that you believe that the Treasury or the Federal Reserve is going to print money, or we're going into a recession type environment. When you go into a recession, you just want to own things that keep up with inflation, like stocks and Bitcoin. So that would make sense why they're moving opposite directions. What a trade! TP slapped on gold, and yeah, that's basically it. So if there's no questions, yo, if there's no questions, it was great to see everybody on this live stream. Not as exciting as usual. Normally 800, 1,000 pip move. We catch the market open and we bounce. Today, I was a little bit too conflicted. You guys saw I was going from buys and sells, but overall, at least one trade made up for it. I'm going to come back in about an hour, look at the markets clearly, and see if buys or sells are the move for NASDAQ. If buys are the move, just catch the re-entry and hold it for the session. Okay. Ladies and gents, happy and safe trading. If you guys have not gotten your tickets to the FX Summit 2022, this is your last reminder for the day. Please make sure head over to the FX Summit 2022. Everything about the event schedule from the event day, handicap accessibility, planning your trip, directions, parking, accommodations, hotels, food, drinks, attractions, tickets, everything that you guys need to make a decision about this convention is on here. Please head over to the website, make a decision. You don't have to buy the tickets today, but I know that it costs money to come to these conventions, guys. And I used to go to these conventions when I was, like back when I really didn't have that much money. And you have to plan in advance. But if you don't plan in advance, you're just going to have to just choose to miss the event. Don't do that either. The events that I used to go to and meet those people, they really did change my life. And a lot of those people I now see I'm now friends with, and that relationship is priceless. People like you and some of these other guys. So make it a move to come out to these conventions. You don't know what kind of lasting relationships you're going to build, and you don't know how your life is going to change. So make sure that you guys are keeping that in mind. When you're thinking